Hello and welcome back to Down the Track. This week's episode is an interesting one. We'll be talking about the new BCCI President, Sourav Ganguly. With me, I have my usual guest, Abrar Aziz. Abrar, how are you doing today?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, were you excited with the news that finally a cricketer is going to be running Indian cricket?
Yeah, the first time in its 65-year history that and the most apt guy I think for the position. I think Sourav Ganguly, when he in his playing days changed the way cricket was looked at for India, and now hopefully with his governing days he'll be able to get some more positive changes for Indian cricket, which is already in a good place. To see them do better would be very heartwarming as an Indian fan.
Yeah, it's very interesting because normally we see the politicians, bureaucrats running the cricket board in India. This is the first time where a cricketer has come, like you said. And Ganguly, Ganguly is the same guy who changed Indian cricket as captain. He brought in a more aggressive Indian style. I was watching a Shoaib Akhtar interview recently, and he said that in the 90s, Pakistan were never scared of India. They thought they'll always beat them, even if they lost. They would consider it a fluke. But when Sourav Ganguly took over, he's like India became more aggressive. He picked out players like Sehwag, Yuvraj, Zahir Khan, who took the game to the opposition, and he changed Indian cricket. So if he can do that as captain, as president, yeah, he only has 10 months initially, but there's still a long way to go because India is a super powerhouse. They do play good cricket. They're in the top in the rankings, but they're still not that ruthless unit which we saw in Australia in the 90s and 2000s, and hopefully Ganguly will change that. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely, I'm very happy with this decision. I think, like we discussed, it is very nice to see Sourav Ganguly. He has changed the way India played cricket, and now hopefully he can change the way the BCCI governs the governing body as well. And that is something like you said, we are missing. So yes, very very excited. He's already spoken very positive things about first class cricket and about Ranji being his priority. And that is what India needs. I think we will need the Ranji players to feel more comfortable. And he said that he'll take care of their financial well-being as well, which is something that will give more and more people to focus on cricket more as a full-time career choice as well. So it's already in a very good position, like you said, but looking for greater things for sure.
Yeah, like you said, he addressed the issues. He also addressed the conflict of interest issue with former players and stuff. If they take one position, they can't take another position in Indian cricket. So, for example, if you're coaching an IPL team, then you can't commentate or you can't be a selector or something. So I think because he actually addressed that issue in his first press conference itself, I think he's looking to bring in players such as Lakshman, Tendulkar, Dravid, get them into like more powerful position. Dravid is already in a powerful position,
Yeah.
but maybe make Lakshman a selector or Kumble a selector or something like that. Make them in more powerful positions. At the same time, they can still do their other jobs and make money that way. Because if you only have one job, why would they take it when they can freelance and do other things? So it's difficult to solve that issue, conflict of interest, but he might make it easier for ex players to do more than one thing, like have double roles within Indian cricket.
I agree 100%. I think that was one of the big issues that has been a problem for Indian cricket with the conflict of interest. There's anyone in the associated with the IPL can't do a lot more, and then issues like that. And we have good players in Lakshman and in Kumble that can be very useful in terms of being a selector, per se, or helping out the youngsters and things like that, which of course Rahul Dravid is doing now. But yeah, definitely having that dual role and having educated and people who understand cricket better like Lakshman, Kumble, Yuvraj Singh, that would definitely help. And if anyone can do it, I think Saurabh Bhai can. So it'll be nice to see Dada make sure and it'll be nice to see him get to make some headway in that front.
And what is very interesting for me is how his relationship is going to be with Ravi Shastri and Virat Kohli, because in the past we've seen both Ravi Shastri and Ganguly go at go at each other with harsh words. They've criticized each other. There's a clear problem there. But Ganguly is a professional. He's not gonna create like small issue, create an issue out of nothing. But it'll be interesting. But Ravi Shastri probably won't be the happiest man on this planet right now, because now Ganguly is there. He's on probably the highest pedestal now, right? You have coach and captain who are very powerful, but now you have the president who's actually a former cricketer, so he'll have a voice. So it'll be difficult for someone like Ravi Shastri who's had problems with Ganguly. So do you think they'll sit down and try to solve it, or is just they'll be professional about it, and if it doesn't work out, then Ravi Shastri is out soon?
My first reaction when I heard Ganguly be the BCCI head was Ravi Bhai counting his days, pretty much. But I'm pretty sure they'll be mature about it. They'll have a sit down. They'll discuss things, and I'm sure Virat will have his input on good things to say only about Ravi Bhai as well. So I'm sure it won't happen overnight. It won't happen very quickly, but it's definitely Ganguly is definitely gonna question issues in the past that have been brushed under the carpet per se, but and that is what we need as Indian cricket, to be the more ruthless, and Ganguly will get that for us. And since he's an ex-cricketer, he'll understand the inside story a little bit better as well. So that will be helpful for Indian cricket to become a little bit more ruthless, which we both have discussed in the past as well, which is the only thing lacking for Indian cricket right now.
Yeah, and you said about it's not going to be easy. It's not an overnight process. That's what you said, right? So, but he has only 10 months. So, what do you expect from him initially? Because you can't do rapid changes, but I'm sure there are a few changes where he needs to do something a bit drastic to confirm or cement his spot, or do some changes or show something in the first 10 months that will cement his spot for the future.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised by when I saw that it's only a 10-month appointment. It didn't make complete sense to me, but I guess they want to see what he can prove in these 10 months. And I think he's wisely chosen the Ranji trophy as his first priority, because that's something that everyone knows needs radical changes. So if he can bring something up over there, and if he can see more players and more first-class cricketers happy with the performances and stuff like that, I think he'll get an extended run where he can kill the issue of the senior team. So I think he's wise, and he's chosen the right path to make sure his contract gets extended.
Yeah, and while I think as the president, he's the perfect choice. Everything is well and good. What he did in the past, and he also has experience with the Bengal Cricket Association. But one point of concern, would you say, or another way to look at it is the team he has. BCCI is a democratic system, right? So he cannot push forward a decision without the mutual decision, without the votes of the other people around him, which is the treasurer, secretary. And if you noticed, a lot of these new members are like the sons of former politicians, present politicians, former BCCI members. So do you see some conflict there, and would it be difficult for Ganguly to put his foot forward, because he can't make a decision on his own even though he's president?
That will be an issue, but I saw him post a photo with all the other guys as well. I think he's going to take them in confidence, and he's going to make it his decision in the end. Not necessarily his decision, but I think he'll create a nice relationship with them, and I guess we'll have to wait and see, but that could be a small issue. You're right.
You don't do you see obstacles for him, because these people, a lot of them have come through because of their fathers or brothers and stuff. And I'm not saying that it is nepotism, but I'm not even criticizing that. I'm just saying that they probably have different views, because they might be influenced by their family members and stuff who ran BCCI in the past, and they might not allow Ganguly to do a few things, because like I said, it's a democratic system, so he can't lead it. He can't be the only decision maker. He has to take people into confidence. He doesn't have an option.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to explain. I think the fact that he might slowly start taking them all into confidence, and kind of play it smart in terms of becoming friends with them, and trying to get his things done that way. But it's going to be a challenge for him for sure, and only time will tell if he can push forward the ideas that he's probably forcing at this point.
Yeah, and his probably the first project would be the T20 World Cup after like whatever happens with the domestic circuit and everything. But then India's T20 World Cup, that's the next major tournament. So he'll probably have to bring in new selectors or like do something new in order to make India give like brighten India's chances during the World Cup.
Absolutely. I think that and the IPL are his two big tournaments that he has in this 10-month time frame. And the IPL is taking care of itself. There's not much to be done over there. He just has to make sure it runs smoothly. And the T20, yes, I am very much looking forward to having a new selection committee. I honestly think MSK Prasad hasn't lived up to what I expect from a selection team. He hasn't lived up to my expectations as a head of a selection committee, and that's one we were discussing earlier as well. That someone like a Lakshman or an Anil Kumble, who's proved to be a smart cricketer, will be a better choice, and that is something I'm definitely looking forward to. And that is one apart from the first class cricket. I think that is one of the other things that I'm really looking forward to if he's going to bring in a new selection committee sooner rather than later.
Yeah, so these things which he'll implement, like a selection committee in the domestic circuit, he'll be implementing different things. So do you think he'll be more hands-on? Do you think he'll have a say in team selection and stuff like that, or he'll just overlook everything as the president does, presidents do in the past? Because if you get too involved, that could backfire on him as well.
Yeah, I think initially he won't. If he understands the way Virat works, I think initially he'll just let it flow. He'll try and figure out. I have no doubt. I have no doubt that he'll do well. But I think he initially, for his own benefit, I think he should sit back and just look at how things are moving, and then pitch in only when necessary. But I think once he kind of gets into the role and gets into the thick of things, I think it will be important to come in where necessary to add that ruthless touch.
Yeah, and like many people were talking about it being a political kind of tactic to bring Ganguly in, because if you noticed, Amit Shah, his son is the secretary, and then you have a lot of other people from the BJP who are involved in the BCCI. So a lot of people are saying it's a ploy, but Ganguly openly said that he's not looking to go into politics. Right now, cricket is his agenda. And looking at his past 6 years in the Bengal, then previously playing for India and captaining India, it'll be difficult for him, right, to leave cricket. I think his main priority will be these 10 months and then try to extend this stay as president.
Absolutely. I think he's looking at only cricket, and he's a man of his word. So if he's telling us that he's not looking at any political involvement at this point, I think we should give him the benefit of the doubt. And I think he loves cricket a lot. I think he will want to his all his focus will be to extend his contract and make sure he's there in the long run. And because someone who's a president, if you give him a long run, like say 5 years or something, he can actually bring changes that will be worthwhile versus something in 10 months which might be haphazard and might be completely changed and removed when the next president comes through if he doesn't extend his contract. So I think his focus should be on improving, on extending his contract and making sure some more permanent changes happen in the course of the next few years of him being the BCCI president.
He also talked about the ICC and how India should get more share of the revenue, and like they should benefit more from the ICC. But don't you think India already benefit a lot from and they already have a strong say?
I feel like it's like
because BCCI,
it's a joke.
I'm not saying that like they run ICC or anything, but they do have an influence. So if he's saying that they need further influence, what does that mean? Taking over or?
I guess I mean let's be very honest. BCCI, if there's no BCCI, there's no ICC.
Yeah,
so
that's the. I don't see them not like he's saying in terms of revenue, right? But I don't see them not getting like this Cricket World Cup, whatever was due. I'm sure they got it because India did in terms of audience in the stadium and on TV. India probably provided majority of the viewership. So I'm sure ICC duly. But if they didn't, then that's another story. I'm not sure about that, but I think we would have heard more about it if they didn't.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think no one would have sat quiet, knowing the kind of guys we've had controlling the BCCI. We wouldn't have sat quietly on that front. I think it's just a bit of a power move. I think he wants to show that he's arrived,
Yeah.
or something like that. Maybe he wanted to just like open everyone's eyes and open like people who sitting at the top dogs of ICC also to take notice that Dada has arrived. Basically,
Yeah.
I think he had something like that in his mind. Maybe I don't know. I'm just thinking aloud, but that could be one of the reasons that he said that out. But BCCI probably has like a very thick share of revenue that the ICCM makes, or however that those numbers work. But I'm pretty sure that was just more to just open people's eyes and show that Dada's arrived.
Yeah, and one thing about Ganguly is he's played all three formats. He just before he retired, he played a bit of IPL as well. So he's played the T20 format. He's played Test cricket and One Day cricket. So he was captain. So I wanted to ask you is, do you think he'll try to prioritize Test cricket for India? Like already Virat Kohli is doing that, but in the sense that try to manage player workload to give priority to Test and One Day cricket, and like maybe create a different type of team for T20s, something just so that people get the players get equal rest, because I'm sure he understands the demands of the modern game, because towards his retirement he played all three formats, so he probably understands what goes through international cricketer's life in terms of physical and mental strength. So do you think he'll put more emphasis in Test cricket and try to improve India's stature there by doing things like dividing teams and making a different T20 team, or trying to decrease the amount of T20 games played?
I am actually, that is one of the other things that I'm really looking forward to with him. I'd love to. I really want to see how he would, how he's going to show his experience in all three formats and bring it into kind of managing workloads of players and people like Bumrah who are now, from the looks of it, kind of injury prone, and but definitely the best bowler that we have. How he's going to handle his workload and the bowlers more than the batsmen, not taking anything away from the batsmen, but I feel like the bowlers need that little bit of extra rest, and creating that pool that I've been talking to you for 5 years, creating a pool of like 10-15 bowlers where everyone is given equal importance and given equal chances to be there, go out there and perform, and not yeah. So I think that's what it is. I am very intrigued to see how he goes about it, and with his experience I think he should be definitely doing better than some of the other people that we've had governing that body in the past.
Yeah, and we talked about Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri, of course. The reason they probably had this much power in the last couple of years was because there was no BCCI as per se. There wasn't like a proper president, they just had temporary people coming and running and stuff. So now that Ganguly is there, he's the president, he has his team and everything. Do you see less power, like Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri losing a bit of power and the power going to Ganguly? And I'm not just talking about the team selection and stuff. I'm just saying in general, the power that Kohli has as an Indian cricket captain. No other captain probably had that power. But do you see that shifting a bit slightly? It could be in terms of team selection. It could be in terms of anything. But what are your thoughts on that?
But I agree. I think if Ganguly can extend his contract, I think that is something that we will definitely see. And with all due respect to Virat, I think that is something that is needed for Indian cricket. I think with him having too much power, he's not able to focus on the more important things. Not to take away the fact that he's an incredible batsman. He's improving as a captain day by day. But I still think that there are some decisions that he shouldn't be taking, and some of the other people in the team should be taking. And and with Ganguly coming in, I think he will realize that fact and maybe take some charge. But I think that will happen only if he can extend his 10-month contract. If he's going to go after 10 months, I don't see that being a problem for Virat and Ravi.
But if he does go after 10 months and Virat Kohli is the problem, then there's a serious issue in Indian cricket. No matter how good you perform, and because I think that's the only way that Ganguly won't extend his 10-month contract. What other reason could it be? Like he can't do a major mess up like in 10 months, right? Like it'll be a fight either with the captain captain, coach, or the board members just screw him over. I don't see any other thing happening. So, but if that happens, then it'll be a major concern, because the thing is, he is fond of Virat Kohli. Ganguly has talked, even like when he analyzes games on news channels and stuff, he always he says Virat Kohli is a treat to watch. I always stop everything and watch him bat, and he praises and criticizes his captaincy very fairly. He has a problem with Ravi Shastri. That's an open problem that we know about. So, but also the thing is, you have to understand that all these people now, all these three guys we're talking about, Ravi, Ganguly, and Virat Kohli, they're all hot-headed. They have that. What do you call it? That phase where they can just that streak, that anger streak, right? They can lose it, and that can happen in the first 10 months as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they communicate, and because with Ravi there has to be clear communication, especially with the coach and captain. I'm sure with the captain it'll happen anyway, but Ravi Shastri and Ganguly, like we said, like they'll have to sit down and clear things at the start right now.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think the sooner the better. They just sit down, have a one-on-one, discuss these things out, hash out whatever the differences have been in the past, and go out to the clean slate. And if things fall out of order if things fall out of order, I think Ganguly has precision over Ravi Bhai. So Ravi Bhai will have to just take that shot and just leave or whatever. But I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's something that we can only speculate right now. It's just a matter of time. We will find out soon enough.
Yeah, at least he'll be somebody who will be no nonsense, right? So he'll give him a fair chance. He'll let him coach, because right now India is doing well. They're leading the Test match series against South Africa. They beat West Indies. They reached the semi-finals. But the thing is, if the T20 World Cup, if they don't win or at least reach the final, Ravi's gone. Like we know that if Ganguly's in charge, Ravi Shastri is gone, because like at the same time, like he is fair, but he's no nonsense. He's not gonna. It's no grudges based on performance. He'll take him out, because if I was the guy in charge, I would have taken him out after the World Cup as coach, because it wasn't acceptable. They tried to explain it and what happened and everything, but at the end of the day it wasn't acceptable, and he had a long term already. Like there's nothing he's done out of the extraordinary. He won a test series in Australia, but there's no Smith and Warner. In England and South Africa, you had the best chance to win a test series, and they didn't do that. So I think at least with Ganguly, if he'll take these performances under consideration, he'll look at it, he'll scrutinize it very closely, and then he'll take a decision.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like we've already discussed in the past, I think both of us have very similar feelings towards Ravi Bhai as well, and that's kind of very clear in this interview as well. And like you said, South Africa and England, we should have won that. I mean, and the small phases in which we lost those test matches was where the coach would have played a critical part. I mean,
the thing is, it's okay to lose.
It's okay to lose.
Like England, they lost the Ashes. Like they drew the series, but they lost the Ashes, right? But the thing is, you come out and say you're the world number one team. This is the best Indian touring side I've ever seen. This is what Ravi Shastri's words. I'm not making it up. He said this in interviews, right? If he's talking such a big game, then you have to back it up with the performances. You can't go and lose to South Africa. Because South Africa were there for the taking. Sri Lanka beat them 6 months after, I think. They beat them in South Africa. If Sri Lanka can do it, what excuse did India have, right? And England,
I agree.
And they should have looked at what the problem was. Even now, that same problem which occurred in away tours is happening in home tours, but because we're playing at home, it's not affecting the result. Which is trying to wipe out the tail. It happened against South Africa. In the last game, they couldn't wipe out the tail in the first innings, and even the game before that, they couldn't wipe out the tail. Same thing happened in away tours. So, these kind of problems are occurring because I think he's showing a blind eye to it.
Yeah, definitely. I think this wiping out tail issue has been a big issue, and it's been widely talked about. And Ravi Bhai has to take some criticism for it.
I feel he's very defensive when it comes. I've seen, I've seen coaches in the past and stuff. They accept the criticism. Like Mickey Arthur, he got criticized big time, but he does try to put his foot forward. But sometimes he just takes the criticism. Sarfaraz as captain also, I've seen him get criticized. He also gets angry, pissed off. But then sometimes you have to take that criticism, and something I think Ravi Shastri needs to learn, because if you take that criticism and learn from it, it'll improve. I don't know, maybe he's just showing a front, and maybe he does listen to the criticism, but at the same time, if you're talking such a big game, you have to back it up.
Absolutely. I think Sourav Ganguly is smart enough to see that, and I'm pretty sure, given a chance, he will make that big move. It's just a matter of time, I guess. And I mean, I guess he's going to give him some time, and they're going to have a discussion, and then I guess we'll wait and see. I think it's just us speculating at this point. We'll have to just wait and see.
Yeah, it is exciting times because, like we said, Ganguly has done so much for Indian cricket, and this is another level for him, the next level, and it'll be interesting to see how he takes the team forward from within his role, because his role is a different role. It's not the same as a captain or a player. But so I have just a couple of closing questions. How long do you see Ravi Shastri as coach under Ganguly's reign?
See, I think we don't have anything very difficult coming per se in terms of any of the other tours. I think we have a Sri Lanka tour coming up. We have a New Zealand tour, which is probably the most difficult tour that we can look forward to. But I think that I think he'll make it till the T20 World Cup.
Make it.
I think so.
I think even if they lose the New Zealand tour, like you said, he'll probably extend. Like he'll have the run till the T20 World Cup. But if they don't win that T20 World Cup, he's gone.
I think for sure. Yeah. I mean, I think if they do well enough, if they make the finals, it's always hard in the finals. But if they make the finals, he probably will stick around. But yeah, for sure. I think he's definitely a little bit more scared than he was when some of the other people were governing that body, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, yeah, those are valid points. So, like you said, New Zealand, then the T20 World Cup. These are the two probably stern tests. If anything happens in between, they lose like a series to Bangladesh, then there will be something. But otherwise,
let's be honest, that's not happening.
That's not happening. But I'm just saying, you never know. Like yeah, a lot of people didn't think we'd lose the semi-final, even though New Zealand are a very good team. But yeah, Bangladesh is far-fetched, but you never know what can happen if a toss goes the wrong way or someone gets injured, a key player and stuff. But yeah, apart from that, these are probably the two main tests, and it'll be a waiting game. But in the meantime, it'll be interesting to see how he handles, how Ganguly handles the domestic circuit and all the other shenanigans which have been going on, all the other issues which have been going around, like the conflict of interest and the ICC, the issues in the ICC. So it'll be interesting to see. Time will tell. But thank you so much. I think that's all we have time for today. I'll catch up with you next week, and we will discuss the India-South Africa series in more detail. And it looks like you think India is going to wrap it up, the third test?
Yeah, 3-0, 4 days.
3-0, 4 days. That'll be interesting. And we'll talk some more cricket. Hopefully, there'll be more action in the next couple of weeks in terms of cricket. And we hope to see you next week, and we'll discuss. And thank you so much for joining us. And see you next week.
Thank you, sir.